David Quadrelli, alongside Chris Faber, here for Look at the Mic Flag, Canucks Army, here at the Tawasin Water Park, formerly known as Splashdown. We actually don't know the name of it because we're a little too old to go to water parks now, but actually, when's the last time you went to a water park? It's been a while for me.
It was the Victoria water slides way back in the day. They are long shut down by now.
Yeah, it's
Shout out that.
Been a while for me. Been a while for me as well, but we're here for the Canucks Army Prospect Report. Here to talk about Lucas Forsell. Chris, I'm gonna be honest, I saw this guy at development camp. I've seen him at various things, various Canucks-related events for prospects. What can you tell me about this prospect?
Yeah, well, he's coming in at number 8 on our rankings because of a couple different reasons. First of all, he's still only 18 years old. He was drafted in the 7th round of the 2021 NHL entry draft, and he jumped right into the SHL. Played 30 games last year, and that was really impressive because there was a coaching change for him over in the SHL on his team there, and he was able to earn the respect of his coach to be able to be trusted defensively as well as offensively, and that's something that kind of impressed us. And just watching him play, it's a high motor with Forsell. You see what he's able to do on the ice offensively, and you're kind of wowed by the skill, but at the same time he works so hard in his own zone. And for a guy that's his size, to see him work that hard, it's gonna be really interesting over the next couple of years to watch him put on a little bit of weight and see what he can do.
34 points through 35 games in the J20 League, 15 goals. Is that production something that's good for a prospect of his caliber?
I think so. I mean, being a point per game player in the J20 League as an 18-year-old, it's nothing like astonishing, but it's just kind of what you'd expect from a player like this who does have some potential offensively. When he's playing against players against his age, he's a strong player. Like, he's a very skilled offensive Swedish player. He's a right-hand shot, standing at about 6 foot tall. Definitely needs to put on some weight, like we mentioned. But he did get the invite to the Sweden World Junior Championship training camp at least, and I expect him to be playing for this team in the winter tournament. I don't think he'll be at the one in August, and we'll see that one kind of come up here pretty dang soon. But I could see him making that team potentially in the fall, and that would be great. He'd be 19 years old at the time. This is kind of the year for him to make the World Juniors this winter. And if he's able to make that team, that's another big step in development for him. He's got a 2-year deal in the SHL, so he's still got a little bit of time kind of left over there in Sweden to play. But that's good. I think it's a good spot for him to be at right now to develop, add some size, play more of the pro game, continue to play against men in one of the best leagues in the world. And if he can continue to produce, that's going to be the most impressive part, because we saw a stretch of 3 games last year where he scored in 3 straight. And it was really impressive to see that from the kid who was still just 18 years old at the time. I mean, this is a guy who came into this past season at 17 years old and was able to earn a spot on an SHL roster. That's massive. And for a 7th round pick, we really like this prospect.
When do you anticipate he'll come over to North America, whether that be in the AHL or the NHL?
Well, he's got the 2-year deal, like I mentioned earlier. I think after that 2 years, there's going to have to be a big decision there. If he's putting up big numbers in the SHL after that 2nd season of the extension that he just signed, you would think he wants to make a push. It is kind of tough with players in Sweden, where I think a lot of Swedish players look at the AHL and they look at the SHL and they say, you know what, I'm probably more comfortable playing in the SHL and waiting until I'm ready for the NHL to make that move. So I can see this next 2 years, I see him playing in the SHL. Obviously, he's got a contract to do it. Then after that, maybe it's just like a 1-year type of thing where he continues to play in the SHL until he's ready to at least push for the NHL. So still at only just 18 years old, maybe 3 years down the road when he's 22, 21, that might be when we start to talk about him coming over to North America. But I think he's only coming to North America at 21 if there's a potential for him to actually get a spot in the NHL. Not out of a training camp or anything, but to be able to go to the AHL at a training camp and then potentially work for a spot up in the NHL.
There you have it, folks. Number 8 in our list, Lucas Forsell. David Quadrelli, Chris Faber for Canucks Army.